Tēnā koe. This is the how to do a conclusion section for the 2.5 Cricket World Cup essay. So there's three main points that you have to do for the for a conclusion, or three main requirements for a good conclusion. First is you have to restate the main points you've made. Okay, for both or all of South, others, and society. Okay, and I suppose it's the judgments you're looking at. All right, so the three judgments over the effect of the financial effect of the Cricket World Cup on society, the effect on others or cricket enthusiasts, and the effect on yourself. It must be at least sort of 4 sentences. All right, you can see that in the example that I've given you, on my conclusion, it's reasonable length. Okay, and that hopefully will give you a guide on how you might go about doing that. And the third requirement is you must make an overall judgment statement, all right, around the key question or the hook that you introduced in your introduction. And that hook in the introduction was, well, the question that we posed ourselves, or exactly in my introduction, was, so will the Cricket World Cup be the big success it has been made out to be? All right, so that was what I asked. And I went through the critical examination of South, others, and society, and then I have to answer that. So this is how I wrote my conclusion, and I'll give you some thoughts on why I wrote that in that way. So my conclusion reads, so has the 2015 Cricket World Cup been as positive as it was made out to be? All right, so I'm hooking back my conclusion back to the start, so automatically they know that I'm trying to answer that question. Financially, for New Zealand society, so I start with society, it appears it has been a success, but we won't know fully until all of the numbers have been crunched. It is important to note that there have been some financial negatives for our society, and it will be interesting to see if in fact it is as positive as some in our society, such as Richard Hadlee, has led us to believe. Alright, so it's okay, alright, to come up with that. You don't have to know an answer, but you have got the critical examination behind it, alright, which is important. Alright. The next point, okay, is about others. Alright. One big assumption generated by the media is that it was loved by everyone. But after examining that, I think that although there were heaps of positives for others, it wasn't true that every New Zealander was into it. So I've made a statement there that, yeah, okay, wasn't positive for everybody. And obviously I've stated that I've examined that, which you have. Alright. However, I found it interesting that it did have a great effect in binding New Zealanders together and allowing people to spend good social time with family and friends. Okay, so I've stated that it didn't have an positive impact for everybody. However, I found it interesting. So that's an important thing you can use as well in a conclusion, is that you find something interesting, which has surprised you perhaps. All right. And then finally, one I've put for myself is, if you had have told me 6 weeks ago that I enjoyed as much or so much, I'd have said no way. I assumed I would watch the odd game and kind of enjoy it. Taking a class and seeing them enjoy it and learn so much about cricket and what sporting events have to offer was a real positive. Also, as New Zealand went deep into the tournament, the more I became hooked and was becoming really patriotic. And being present at the semi-final where we beat South Africa was truly one of my favourite life experiences. So pick a couple of things that really stuck with you, okay? Positives, alright? If there were some negatives, it was mainly negatives, talk about the negatives, okay? But remember, in an examination you have to be balanced. And then the final thing is that overall conclusion, overall judgment statement, alright, which is in the achievement criteria for the standard. You must make some judgments to get towards that excellence. So this is my overall judgment. Overall, I think, despite the negatives, I think it has done great things for New Zealand, not just for cricket, but for also bringing a country together and also helping people connect and experience different things throughout it. In this way, I think it has been bigger than a sporting event. So that there has basically answered that question, as it has been as positive as we thought it would be, or as it's been made out to be. And I'm saying yes, it is, but there are some negatives, so I'm acknowledging that. So that's the key components of a good conclusion. Alright, give it a go. Alright, and once again, remember, I am always contactable via Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Classroom, or just come see me during the day. Alright, thanks very much, and go to it.